And let's continue for a while at least. So what I did in the meantime now was here in Blender, I made the kind of little hills, and then in the middle of everything will be my standing stones in a kind of valley. And yeah, so what I also want to do is set the terrain so that it looks smoother. So I'm going to go away from the edit mode for now. One way of making things look smoother is to go here into the object menu and click on Shade Smooth. So you can see that this already helped a little bit. What it can also do is what I mentioned earlier, to make things look smoother, although they are actually not. By the way, I will need some more lights at some point here. So these things that make things look like things are modifiers, like I said before. You can find them here, and you can only see or edit the modifiers when you're in the object mode, by the way. When you're in the edit mode, you can't do that. So I'll add a modifier, and you can see that there are lots and lots of interesting modifiers here. And I'm not going to make an ocean or anything this time. I'm going to make a subdivision surface, which means that I'll also click here that I'll have 2 levels, and it will also render these 2 levels, and now it's smoother. Even if I click here on the shade flat, it will look much smoother. So all of this geometry is not real until I tell it to be real, in a sense. So a modifier can be applied, and then the geometry is not anymore fake, but real.
How did you choose the, again, like at random, those like areas that you raised?
Oh, yeah, I could have chosen them or selected them by random. Okay, I'll just put the modifier so that you can see it. So what I did was have a C select. So I clicked on C, which gave me the opportunity to paint these areas. I could have also used random selection, like here's select random, but those islands are a little bit too small for my purposes. There's of course the select random options, so I could have also changed here how that random selection looks like. But yeah, like I said, there is a random selection, but I didn't use it earlier.
Okay, thank you.
But now you saw how to find the random selection if you want to use that at some point. Okay. So what I want to do now, I want to go away from this terrain. And then go to this character, or what's going to be my character, or actually what I want to do is create the standing stones around the character, the actual henge. So how can I go quickly here if I don't want to zoom in or anything? Here by the view window, there's something called frame selected. So it's framing the selected object. There we go. So now we are again here in the scene, in the closer up scene. And I'm going to create a couple of new objects, which will be my standing stones. I'll just move the character a little bit away, or maybe I'll just make it invisible for the well-being. Okay, so I'm going to add a new cube, and what I want with this cube is that it's looking less cubish, so to say. And I'll have to be careful so that I still have the add cube options here. And okay, well, standing stones are longish and they're in how they look like. So let's make it a bit different. Well, maybe I'll just make the way it looks from elsewhere. Okay, I want to resize it. Oh, and I still have, do I still have the proportional editing on? So let's put that away for now. Okay. By the way, there was something that bothers me with this cube. Just a minute, I'll make another one. Let's see if there's something that I missed now. Cube. No, everything seems to be all rightish. Okay. Okay, so let's have this other cube over here and start changing the way this one looks like. So what I need for it is subdivisions, just like I did with the terrain earlier. So over and the zoom is okay. So what's important here is that every face of the cube is selected in the edit mode, and I go again to subdivide, but this time I'm going to use I'm going to make quite a lot of cuts first, maybe up to 9. And there's also already a little bit of fractalness going on here. So I'm going to put that into 0 for now. So what I didn't show you earlier was the smoothness, and this is what I can do with the smoothness factor. So to make a cube into a sphere, and that's exactly what I want to do now. Also, a rock tends to be a little bit, well, rocky, so I'll make it a little bit fractal. So yeah, I guess I'm happy with this stone for now. Just change its size a little bit. So yes, I've seen images of these standing stones, but I think this has mostly taken its inspiration from the Asterix comics. On the menhirs that Obelix is making. So how big should these be? It's one question. And by the way, I think it's floating. It's not on the inside the ground. So I should either raise the ground or lower my stone. So let's raise the ground. There we go. So I don't think I need this one. I'll just copy this one and change it a little bit. So I think I'll put this stone into my second collection. So all the stones will be here, and I'll call it stone. And now I want to make copies of this stone. By the way, it doesn't have any material on it, so I'll just give it some. And I'll change this in the afternoon, this material. So I think after the lunch break, we could go and see more about the materials and textures, how to use those procedural textures. Okay, so let's make this circle. So I'll just duplicate this stone and then put other stones into a circle formation. And I could use like exact numbers in order to do it like very geometrically, but this is a henge made by human beings, so it should be a little bit rougher looking, so to say. So, okay, let's duplicate this one by clicking Shift and D. Then I click Enter and move the duplicate to the other side. So this is just basic stuff, which I'm not going to. Okay, there we go. I'm going to duplicate. it's also possible to move things freely by just clicking G and then moving stuff. But I don't recommend it because this is a 3D environment, and then your object could be going like anywhere, like you don't have much control over it if you're using the pre-movement. And now they are exact duplicates of each other, which I want to change once I have made the circle, so that all of them will look a little bit different. Okay. So now I just make some of these bigger, some of them smaller, some of them taller. Make them a little bit skewed. By the way, clicking S will give you the option of just transforming the size quickly. S, and then you just use your mouse. Or you can change it by clicking S and one of the axes. Like if I want to have change the size to the Z direction, then I click S and Z. And again, I just click this. Okay, and I think that's enough for now for these stones. And now if I want to have all the stones like away from my scene at once, then I can just click hide in viewport, and they will not be there. And by the way, I have not saved the scene yet, which is like bad economics in Blender. So I will save it now. Okay, and be sure that you know where you put your scene. So I call this hinge 2 because I already made one hinge earlier. Window 1, file. There we go. And yeah, if you have an older computer like I do right now, then Blender can crash unexpectedly, which makes it really important to save. And even if you have a newer computer, that can happen in complex scenes. Okay, so I'll make my stones invisible for now, and let's go into the character, or what I'm right now calling the character. And maybe I'll just go into this shading, and I'll make even the terrain invisible. All right. So in the introduction to visual design, did Isabel or Tuomo show you box modeling technique? How to do box modeling?
We did some characters. We did the teacup thing, so I think everybody can box model.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. But anyway, for those of you who haven't done any modeling, I'll show you how it goes from the start. And also what I want to show you is what edge loops are and how to do loop cuts. And of course, how to extrude. So they are the basic tools of box modeling. Okay, so I'm going into edit mode and I'm going to select all the faces by clicking A. And let's see. I could start, of course, by using the subdivision here, but I think I'm going to rather start a little bit differently by doing some loop cuts. And for a loop cut in Blender, you need to use your keyboard command, or, well, there's the loop cut tool here, I think, yeah. So you can see from the loop cut tool that you can use the Control and R for it to make it. And if I click Control R, it will show me automatically one place where I could make a loop cut. If I just move my mouse a little bit, it will show me other places. The basic loop cut will always go into the middle of the object, which is good, but it does it automatically. So what I need for this torso to work is to have a pair of legs and a pair of arms and a head. Yep. So what I will need here in the middle is I click once, I click twice, and I get the loop cut and slide options. So what I need is 2 loop cuts, at least. I think I'll leave it here for now. So now I have a place where to take the legs of the character out. And by the way, I'm going to make the arms in a very unconventional way, since we are not going to do any mirror modifiers at this point. I'm going to show that to you on Thursday. So I'm going to show how that goes, how you can make the arms without any mirror modifiers. Okay, I will, speaking of arms, I will need some places where I can extrude the arms out of from here. So I'll click again on Control and R. There we go. And this time I'm not going to click twice, I'm just going to swoop the loop cut upwards here. And then I think I need one more loop cut over here to have the hips. Okay, Control R. There we go. And there's going to be the hips. And now what I can do right away is I could just click S and change the size of my torso so that it looks a little bit more like a torso already. Okay. And yeah, so let's make the legs next. And yeah, maybe some symmetry functions would be nice at this point. Here are the symmetry options. So let's try out if I have the x-axis symmetry, and let's just select this one. Oh no, it's the wrong axis. So it should be the y-axis, I'm guessing. So you'll have to try this out. Okay, still not taking it. What's happening here? Should be the y-axis. Okay, it seems that I have broken something in my model. Okay, so that's the y-axis. For some reason, the x-axis symmetry isn't working as I planned. That might be a problem. But the y-axis is, so it's probably because I opened up the box earlier on, and I think I broke some symmetry over there. But okay, I'm thinking of discarding this and making a new one, since I'm not very far in this model yet, because the symmetry is really practical when you're not using any more like mirror modifiers. Okay, what the heck, I'll just move this elsewhere. Make it invisible and create a new one. So this is what sometimes happens, that you have to discard things that you have made, and you have to be quick to notice when something is not working. So, and often in 3D, it's quicker to make a new thing, a new object, than start tinkering with the one that doesn't work. So be prepared that things sometimes go wrong, and that you don't become too much in love with the object that you're creating. Okay, now I have a new one, and let's just check that everything is working with the symmetry here. Yes, it's working, great. Okay, I'll do quickly the load cuts again. Okay, 2 loop cuts over here. Two over there, and let's put them a little bit further away from each other. Maybe this one over here. What I can now show you, by the way, is how to select a whole edge loop at once. I mean, if I want to go back and make the same selection as I had earlier here, when I made the torso look more like a torso. But then if I would have to click on all of these edges one by one, it would be like murder. Well, not maybe, but still very tedious. So I'll just click on the Alt and Shift, and then click on the line. And now I have the whole edge loop selected, Alt and Shift. That's actually quite an important command. So then I click S to make the torso look more like a torso. Okay, and now I can make the legs. So maybe I'll just make this a little bit more narrow. And then over here, select both of these. And now what I'm going to do is extrude them, extrude new geometry out of them, the legs. So there is like this tool for extrusion, and you can see that you can use as a shortcut only E. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Click E, and then it's giving me automatically the axis where I can move it. Sometimes it's good to have it, sometimes it isn't, but now it's good. Okay. And I'll just extrude them again to make the knees. And another extrusion to get to the ankles. Smaller. Extrude. And what I now need is these two guys and extrude by E. There's the legs and feet. And now, since I don't have the mirroring option, I can't extrude things to the opposite directions automatically. But what I can do here is to go to face, and there's extrude individual faces. So now it gives me this option. And yeah, like I said, this is a bit of an unconventional way of doing it. Usually how I would proceed from here, I would be extruding the arms over here to make it into a so-called T position. But we are not going to do any riggings, which means like making a skeleton so we can move our character around freely, more or less freely. But I want to have the character have its arms in the front. So I'm going to just extrude them from here. And I need to be careful to keep the proportions I want them to be. Maybe at this point, scale them a little bit. It's the wrists, and the hands. By the way, is the amount of detail that I'm giving here good for you? I mean, should I be less detailed in what I'm telling you?
No, this is nice.
Good. Okay, the question is the character holding its hands in which way? So now I'm already thinking about how to do the actual modeling. This is just the basic structure. So I could be moving the edges and other places. Okay, I'm starting to think in modeling terms, which means that seems that my brain region is going to nonverbal places. Okay, so yeah, I've noticed that modeling and talking at the same time are not compatible. So I'm just going to make this basic model, and then you have time to create a better model yourself. Okay, I'll extrude the head now, or actually the so maybe before that I could have just moved the shoulders up. Yeah. And changed this region a little bit. Maybe it's a bad idea, maybe not. Okay, extrude. Extrude. And this time I'm going to size it already bigger. So he or she is going to be a blockhead. A literal blockhead. I'm going to move the head a little bit to have a space for the brain. Okay, this looks slightly better than before. We'll need a chin, obviously. And that's all the detail I'm going to give it for now. So now already I could try out how this character would look like if I first of all shaded it smooth. Well, that's not very good, but I could use the same modifier I used with the terrain, add modifier and subdivision surface, which will shrink it a little bit in addition to making it more smooth. So then when I would actually continue modeling it, I could keep this modifier on and see what I could do with it. So what I would need to do is select the edge loops quite a lot, and then try out where the different body parts should be and how their shape should be. And I would probably also need one more loop cut right in the middle of the character. Okay, I'll put the modifier off for a while, and let's go to the wireframe for a while. So why do we sometimes need the wireframe in selecting things? So sometimes if I want to select, let's say, all of this arm, if I want to break the symmetry, for instance, for the character, then, or if I want to move the arms so that they are longer or shorter. So if I had the, like for instance, the solid view, and I would try the box selection, it would only select things that it sees. So here you can see that it has selected some of the faces, but not all of them. So that's not good, which is why I want to go to wireframe. And now Blender can see all of these. So when I do a box selection, it will select all the body parts that I wanted to have. So sometimes you still need to edit the selection. And by the way, you can also save your selections. Over here.
There's something wrong with your mic.
You can't hear me.
Now we can.
Okay, or maybe I was just mumbling. Anyway, I moved my hair away from the mic, so that might have helped.
Yeah, that was it.
That sometimes happens. Okay, so it might be that I would like to change the length of the legs or the feet. So this is how I can do it. In the most comfortable way. Okay. So let's get out of the wireframe. So that was the reason why we sometimes need the wireframe. Yeah, I was saying that you can save your selections here as vertex groups, and we're going to use that a lot later on for other purposes. Right, now I have the character, I have the standing stones, I have a terrain. What else do I need? I wanted to make a sort of pool for the character. The reason why I want to do it is because I want to show you how to do beveling and how to think about geometric objects in the 3D world. So I'm going away from the edit mode back to the object mode, and I'm going to create, oh, by the way, we have the cylinder already, or I had the cylinder in my scene. So I can just take that and start with that one. So what I want is, I want this to have, for it to be a kind of stone pool or something similar. I want it to have like an opening in the middle. So yes, we are kind of making a teacup, but I'm not calling it a teacup. Okay, so I'll first make it a little bit larger in relation to the character. And I'll go to edit mode. And what I need to do in order to go inside things, I need to first select this cap or the upper face of this pool, and then I can again extrude. But this time I'm going to just, instead of extruding it, I'm just going to click enter. And then I'm going to click S and make it smaller. So this is going to be the rim of my pool. It's going to be stone, so it's going to be quite fat. So I'm going to extrude again and then just click enter, resize it, and now I'm going down. Down, down, down. One more time, extrude, enter, size. And now you can see that it's becoming the pool. Okay, now it's going through my original bottom. Okay, so what I wanted to show here was next was beveling, which will make the edges kind of softer. Because when you have like real life objects, then their edges usually are a little bit soft. So I need to first deselect everything, then Alt Shift. Oh, I need to, of course, have the edges, edge selection on, Alt Shift. Here we go. Now I have edge selected, only this edge loop. And then there is, you can find the beveling over here, and you can also click on Control and B to get the beveling options. And I'm going to click once and twice, and for some reason it forgot my edge loop. What the fuck? Okay, it did bevel, but it forgot the edge loop, so I need to redo this. Okay, so again, the edge loop, this time I'm just going to go with Command and B to bevel it. It's more. Okay, now I have it, and I can click on the segments, how many segments I want and how wide they are going to be. You can do this all without these options, but right now I wanted to show you how the options actually work. Okay, make another bevel for this edge, and after that I think I'm good. Nice, remembering my previous options, which I can change here if I want to, of course. So I'm kind of trying to not make too much geometry here. Okay, and I think this edge is a little bit too harsh, so I'm going to make a loop cut over there. Again, Control R. And now I can just change it. Raise it. And maybe make a bevel for it. Okay, so that was how much I wanted to show about the teacups. And yeah, the pool, if I want to have like something inside the pool, I will need to duplicate this. Again, Shift D. And what I want to do is select only the, by the way, I'll call this water, and I'll call the cylinder pool. Anyway, now I can remember better which one is which. Anyway, what I want here is to have only the inside of this pool, which I will then create into the water. So what I need is to select. Oh, by the way, I will need the face select, C, and then I'll select everything that's inside. And then destroy or delete everything that's outside of it. Okay, enter, and now I can again do stuff. Select and invert the selection. And now I click X to delete these faces. And now I have what will be the water, and I'll select the edge loop. Over here. And click F to fill it up. And for good measure, I will need to put all the faces facing outside and not inside. But I'll do that later. So for now, I'll go back away from the edit mode and give this quick material, bluish maybe. Then let's make the pool visible and give that a material. And okay, at this point, I would like to make shade it smooth. And after the break, we're going to look more at the materials. So now I can just make this a little bit smaller, maybe. or maybe just not quite as. Okay, and then I'll just move it into the pool. And of course, the water is not transparent or anything, but it doesn't have to be at this point. Okay, there it is. I can raise the specularity of the water so that it's more reflective. I think that's going to be enough for now. It's almost 12. Let's make the terrain visible and also the stones. And you can see that my character is far too big. So that, and also the pool is too big. So I'll need to resize them. But I'll do that in the meantime when we are on the lunch break. Any questions right now? I guess not, so I'll stop sharing and I'll stop the recording.